Shalom Ashramcha. Brothers and sisters, this is Adam with the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube channel. Today I am so excited. I knew it wouldn't take long. The last video that we covered was kind of just the basics as to why I believe the book of Enoch is important for the end times, for us, the elect ones who will be living in the days in which the sinners will be removed. And the last video was very kind of to the point, and I just wanted to set a preface as to why I'm going to use the book of Enoch, and been studying it the last couple days, and it didn't take long, brother and sister, and I think I found a connection here, or I know I found a connection here, and I think it helps give us a little better clarity as to what to expect, and honestly, to kind of put to bed that those who live in faith of Yeshua HaMashiach and his blood and what it covers us and makes us righteous and blameless in the sight of God, that those of us who are in faith will not be here during destruction. There's a big movement right now of those that just absolutely want to make sure to let everybody know in the church that you're going to be here during the Antichrist and during judgment. But Enoch actually ties right into Revelation 12, ties right into Isaiah 66, and today we're going to be covering those scriptures as well as 1 Enoch chapters 61 through 63, and you're going to see, for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to see that Enoch makes it very plain that we will not be here. So, brother and sister, I can't tell you how excited I am to show this to you, and I can't wait to get some feedback from you guys and see what you think. So, here we go. All right, so we're going to start at Revelation 12, verse 1. For those of you that have been studying this for a while, just a quick review for anyone that has just stumbling upon this. Chapter 12, verse 1, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Remember this. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered." So that's the basics of the sign. That's the alignment that's gonna happen on September 23rd during the Feast of Trumpets. This is the prophecy. This is what John saw, and this ties right into quite frankly, the end of God's current creation and the start of the new. Starting at verse 3, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." This is the stars falling from heaven. This is before the heaven is rolled up as a scroll, and destruction upon the earth. This is when we're taken out of here. "And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God into his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days." All right, so we're going to go down to verse 10. This is after the devil was cast down with the stars he brought with him. And this is where you see salvation is brought forth to the faithful, to the righteous ones, to the elect. And we'll explain that here in just a little bit when we go over Enoch. But verse 10, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God." This is when the kingdom arrives. "And the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb." This is faith in Yeshua HaMashiach and what he did on the cross. This is faith in him. And this blood, his blood, is what covers us, and this is how we overcome. "And by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And so here we're going to go down to, or actually we'll stay on verse 13. "And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she may fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. This is the remnant. Now this is those that are saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. Have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name cast out many devils. And this is when he says, away from me, I never knew you. These are those that are left behind. Now, in order to attain salvation during tribulation, in which they keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So this is Revelation 12. This is the prophecy kind of paraphrased. Now what I want to do is I want to go into the book of Enoch, and there's a couple chapters that he goes over these end times. And for those of you that understand Revelation or have read Revelation and kind of know more than just the basics of this, will understand. And I'll try to help explain and pause as much as I can to kind of tie things in for you. So we're going to now move on to Enoch chapter 61. Okay, so Enoch chapter 61, starting at verse 1. I saw in those days that long ropes were given to those malachim. Malachim are angels. And hoisting up their own respective portions of the ropes, they soared, going in the direction of the northeast. And I asked the malach, saying unto him, Why have those malachim hoisted these ropes and gone off? And he said unto me, They have gone in order to make measurements. The malach who was going with me also said unto me, These malachim are the ones who shall bring measuring ropes of the righteous ones, as well as their binding cords, in order that they may lean upon the name of Yahweh of hosts forever and ever. Then the elect ones shall begin to walk with the elect one. These are the measurements which shall be given to faith, and which shall strengthen righteousness. And these measurements shall reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, those who have been destroyed in the desert, and those who have been devoured by the wild beasts, and those who have been eaten by the fish of the sea, so that they all return and find hope in the day of the elect one. For there is no one who perishes before Yahweh of hosts, and no one who should perish. And those who are in heaven above, and all the powers receive a command, one voice, and one light like fire. And him, the first word, they shall bless, extol, and honor with wisdom. They shall be wise in utterance, in the spirit of life, and in Yahweh of hosts. He placed the elect one on the throne of splendor, and he shall judge all the works of the Kodesh ones in heaven above, weighing in the balance of their deeds. And when he shall lift up his countenance in order to judge the secret ways of theirs by the word of the name of Yahweh of hosts, and their conduct by the method of the righteous judgment of Yahweh of hosts, and they shall all speak with one voice, blessing, honoring, extolling, and sanctifying the name of Yahweh of hosts. So I want to stop here real quick. Alright, so what I see here so far in this passage is a bigger and better explanation. Kind of expounds on what Revelation 11 says, and I'll just read it real quick. This is Revelation 11, verse 1. And there was given to me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. So again, what we've read so far is a better explanation of what that measurement is, and to who he is measuring, and who is to be included in that. So we'll move on from here. Okay, now back on to starting at verse 10. And he will summon all the forces of heavens, and all the Kodesh ones, and the forces of Yahweh, the cherubim, the seraphim, Ophanim, all the malachim of governance, the elect one, and all the other forces on earth and over the water.
On that day they shall lift up in one voice, blessing, honoring, and extolling in the spirit of faith, in the spirit of wisdom and patience, in the spirit of mercy, in the spirit of justice and shalom, and in the spirit of generosity. They shall all say in one voice, Blessed is he, and may in the name of Yahweh of hosts be blessed forever and evermore. And all the vigilant ones in heaven above shall bless him. All the Kodesh ones who are in heaven shall bless him. All the elect ones who dwell in the garden of life shall bless him. Every spirit of light that is capable of blessing, honoring, extolling, and sanctifying your blessed name shall bless him. And all flesh shall honor and bless your name with an exceedingly limitless power forever and ever. For the mercy of Yahweh of hosts is great in quantity, and he is long-suffering. All his works and all the dimensions of his creation he revealed to the righteous and the elect ones in the name of Yahweh of hosts. So this is the end of chapter 61. Okay, and now we're going to move on to chapter 62, and this is where it really starts getting interesting, and this is where your eyebrows are probably going to get perked up and say, whoa. So here we go. Chapter 62, verse 1. Thus Yahweh commanded the kings, the governors, the high officials, and the landlords, and said, Open your eyes and lift up your eyebrows, if you are able to recognize the elect one. And Yahweh of hosts has sat down on his throne of his splendor, and the spirit of righteousness has been poured out upon him. The word of his mouth will do the sinners in, and all the oppressors shall be eliminated from before his face. On the day of judgment, all the kings, the governors, the high officials, and the landlords shall see and recognize him, how he sits on his throne of his splendor, and his righteousness is judged before him, and that no nonsensical talk shall be uttered in his presence. So that, just to pause there real quick, that reminds me of the passage where, I'm not looking at it right now, but where the kings and the great men and the free men and the bondmen, everybody hid themselves in the rocks and said, fall on us and hide us from he who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day has come, and who shall be able to stand? So watch this, brothers and sisters. This is where I started getting the chills. So starting at verse 4, Then pain shall come upon them as a woman in travail with birth pangs, when she is given birth to the child enters the mouth of the womb, and she is suffering from childbearing. One half portion of them shall glance at the other half, and they shall be terrified and dejected. And pain shall seize them when they see that the Son of Man sitting on the throne of his splendor. So, brother and sister, can we talk about this for a second? Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's mere coincidence that everything we're reading about these end times is scattered throughout? And we're going to read in Isaiah 66 here a little bit. And for those of you that have been following this work and other great YouTube channels that have brought this up, but that the very sign that we see, the sign of the Son of Man, it is about a birth, about a woman in labor, travailing to give birth. And here we are in Enoch. And what do we see? The pain shall come upon them as a woman in travail with birth pangs. Brother and sister, I can assure you, if you have eyes to see, if you have ears to hear, then you're seeing this alongside with me. Amen? Okay, so let's move on for now. Down at verse 6, These kings, governors, and all the landlords shall try to bless, honor, and extol him who rules over everything, him who has been concealed. For the Son of Man was concealed from the beginning, and Yahweh, the Most High One, preserved him in the presence of his power. Then he revealed him to the Kodesh ones and the elect ones. The congregation of the Kodesh ones shall be planted, and all the elect ones shall stand before him. This is key, so let's pause right here. The congregation of the Kodesh ones shall be planted, and the elect ones shall stand before him. So here we are talking about the day of judgment. We're connecting the sign of the woman, the sign of the Son of Man, we're connecting the day of wrath, the day of judgment, and we're connecting the elect ones shall stand before him. Is this making sense, brother and sister? Are you starting to see? So, verse 9. And on that day, all the kings, the governors, the high officials, and those who rule on the earth shall fall down before him. Remember, every knee shall bow down before him. Shall fall down before him on their faces and worship and raise their hopes in that the Son of Man, they shall beg and plead for mercy at his feet. But Yahweh of hosts himself will cause them to be frantic, so that they shall rush and depart from his presence. This is when they hide themselves in the dens of the earth and the rocks of the earth. Their faces shall be filled with shame, and their countenances shall be crowned with darkness. So he will deliver them to the Malachim for punishments, in order that the vengeance shall be executed on them, oppressors of his children and his elect ones. So a couple things I want to talk about here. So you'll see that the angels, and I've got a video coming up, brothers and sisters, that might help reveal some of this to you. But in short, this might be hard to digest right here off the cuff, but in short, the seals are backwards, okay? So when the seventh seal is opened, that's the beginning of the judgments. And when the seventh seal is opened, that's when the angels are handed the trumpets. The first seal, which we read first, is when the white horse rider comes on with a crown. That is Yeshua at the end, given a crown and going to conquer and conquering. This may not make sense to you right now, but just bear with me, okay? So, but to kind of tie this in right here, and this is going to be part of that presentation as well, you can see here that the angels are delivering the judgment, okay? We are not here to be delivered the judgment of the angels. That's the trumpets and the vials, okay? So again, eyes to see and ears to hear. Bear with me. And real quick, the other thing I wanted to mention before we move on to verse 12 is that the oppressors of his children and his elect ones. You see two groups here. This is also going to be part of my the next video, the bigger video I'm working on, which is again more of a timeline video, and it's really going to be showing you plain as day that the seals are backwards in reverse order. That's what was part of sealing this prophecy, and why for 2,000 years people couldn't really just get it. But it is being revealed here in these last days. So, but you see here two groups, oppressors of his children and his elect ones. I think that's just believers in Yeshua, and the elect ones, I believe, is the 144,000. So, but in any case, we're going to move on to verse 12. It shall become quite a scene for my righteous and elect ones. They shall rejoice over the kings, the governors, the high officials, and the landlords, because the wrath of Yahweh of hosts shall rest upon them, and his sword shall obtain from them a sacrifice. The righteous and elect ones shall be saved on that day. Okay, let's pause there. Shall be saved on that day, and we will not endure wrath. We will not endure the tribulation. Okay? And from thenceforth they shall never see the faces of the sinners and oppressors. So on that day, when Yeshua is revealed, on that day the sinners are handed over for the judgments of the angels. And it says here, plain as day, that the righteous and elect ones shall not be there. Verse 14, Yahweh of hosts will abide over them. They shall eat and rest and rise with that Son of Man forever and ever. The righteous and elect ones shall rise from the earth. Hello. That's their rapture. The righteous and elect ones shall rise from the earth and shall cease being of downcast face. They shall wear the garments of splendor. These garments of yours shall become the garments of life from Yahweh of hosts. Neither shall your garments wear out, nor your splendor come to an end before Yahweh of hosts. Brother and sister, do you see this? Are you hearing this? Do you have eyes to see and ears to hear? This is an absolute blessing. This is absolutely casting light on what we've been researching and what we're trying to discern. Okay, so on to chapter 63. In those days the governors and the kings who possess the land shall plead that he may give them a little breathing spell from the malachim of his punishments to whom they have been delivered, so that they should fall and worship before Yahweh of hosts and confess their sins before him. They shall bless and magnify Yahweh of hosts, and say, Blessed is Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh of kings, Yahweh of rulers, and the master of the rich, Yahweh of splendor, and Yahweh of wisdom. Your power exposes every secret thing from generation to generation, and your splendor is forever and ever. Deep are all your mysteries and numberless, and your righteousness is beyond accounting. Now we have come to know that we should honor, magnify, and bless Yahweh of kings, him who rules over all kings. Moreover, they shall say, Would that someone had given us a chance so that we should honor, praise, and have faith before his splendor. This time, however, we are begging for a little rest, but find not. We pursue it, but procure it not. Light has vanished from before us, and darkness has become our habitation forever and ever. So, real quickly, I believe that light has vanished from before us. I literally believe that that's when the sun will not give its light, and people will be in utter and total darkness. Now the world will probably have its own explanation for these things, whether it be you've got climate change or whatever the narrative is. That's just how they're going to explain it away. But what you see here, more importantly, this is a direct reflection of when men in those days, when they're tormented, shall seek death but will not be able to find it, because they have to endure through this the angels' trumpets and the bowls, the vials. So, any case, let's move on. All right. So, starting back at verse 7, because we have formerly neither had faith nor honored the name of Yahweh of hosts and kings, nor honored Yahweh in all his creation, we had put our hopes upon the scepters of our empires. So, this is people that have hope in this world, hope in man. This is why it's so important to turn from the direction that the world is going right now and put full focus, full steam on faith in Yeshua and faith in our Creator. Obviously I'm not saying, to give up your household and let your family be poor and be homeless. You still have to do the things you need to do to keep your household up. At least I'm talking for myself. But as far as where your heart is, there shall your treasure be as well. This is what I'm talking about. So, any case, moving on. Verse 8, Now on the day of our hardship and our tribulation, he is not saving us, and we have no chance to become believers. For our sovereign ruler is faithful in all his works, his judgments, and his righteousness, and his judgments have no respect of persons. So we will vanish away from before his face on account of all our deeds, and all of our sins are consumed by righteousness. Furthermore, at the time you shall say, Our souls are satiated with exploitation of money, which could not save us from being cast into the oppressive Sheol. After that, their faces shall be filled with shame before that Son of Man, and from before his face they shall be driven out, and the sword shall abide in their midst before his face. And thus Yahweh of hosts, this is the ordinance and the judgment before Yahweh of hosts, prepared for governors, kings, high officials, and landlords. And brother and sister, we're going to end there on Enoch. Can you see? Do you have eyes to see? Do you have ears to hear? Are you hearing me? Can you see as plain as day that this ties in? Nothing that we've covered in these last 3 chapters has warred against or contradicted what we're researching in Revelation. All this does is cast more light and give us better understanding of what's to happen. After this, I don't know how anybody can say that we are to endure judgment and the days of tribulation, because as it is written right here, that this tribulation is for them. This is verse 8. Now on the day of our hardship and our tribulation, he is not saving us. This is for the wicked. This is for the sinners. So really quickly, I want to cover Isaiah 66 and how this all ties in together. Okay, my brother, my sister. So here we are in Isaiah chapter 66, and we're going to start at verse 4, and you're going to see how this is kind of a snapshot of everything we just went over. So starting at verse 4. I also will choose their delusions, and will bring fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, Let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice from the Lord that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Here we go. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth, and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth, and shut the womb, saith thy God? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her, that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breasts of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck, ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. My brother, my sister, what a joy this study has been. I knew it wouldn't take long in diving back into the book of Enoch that it would shed some light, some brighter light on what we've been researching. After going over these things, can you still honestly say that we're going to be here during judgment? That we're going to be here during his wrath? If you still think so, I recommend re-reviewing this again. It is an absolute blessing and honor to be with you guys here. I've had this channel for a while and have had maybe a couple hundred subscribers. Within the last month, you guys have just been amazing. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have been coming. And I just want to say that I don't take these subjects lightly. As Steve with Heavenly Sign 2017 said, I'd rather die than give you guys the wrong information. So this is stuff that I've been laboring over. I've been praying about in order to try to give you guys the message that the Holy Ghost wants me to give. And I'm nobody special. I think that my part in the body here is just to try to take this information, compile it, and make it easy to understand. I'm no prophet. But I love and delight in his word. And love the heavenly type of wisdom, not the wisdom of this earth. So, to the point at hand, to the task at hand, like what Peter says, and I'm going to quote Peter. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10, But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, to the world, not to us, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth shall also, and the works that are in, shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversations and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. So, brother and sister, what we're charged to do, again, is to be that light of this earth. Time is almost gone. This is our opportunity. Remember the parable of the 3 talents. You had the servant with the 5 talents, with the 2 talents, and the 1. The servants with the 5 talents and with the 2 talents, they doubled what they had. They saw the promise. They saw the beauty. They saw what would come of the work to be done, and they multiplied. You had the one servant who was unfaithful, it was wicked and slothful. He took that information and he buried it and he sat on it. Yeshua wouldn't have taught us this parable if it didn't mean something. So in this light that's being shed to you, what are you going to do with it, brother and sister? Go for broke. You know, we in our daily lives, we try hard for our jobs, you know, as a kid or with sports or, you know, whatever we do, we try hard. What else is more important than this that we should not try hard? It's time to preach the good news. For we know time is very short, brother and sister. Until next time, I love you. And this is Adam with the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube channel. May God bless you, and Yeshua reign forever. Light. In this light that's being shed to you, what are you going to do with it, brother and sister? Go for broke. You know, we in our daily lives, we try hard for our jobs, you know, as a kid or with sports or, you know, whatever we do, we try hard. What else is more important than this that we should not try hard? It's time to preach the good news. For we know time is very short, brother and sister. Until next time, I love you. And this is Adam with the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube channel. May God bless you, and Yeshua reign forever and ever. And we will see him very soon. Amen.